Hello, welcome back to the Cricket Nerds. Me and Benji, and we're talking about the Ashes, obviously, and it is so good. It's just so good. Aussies 2-1 up. They're almost certainly going to win the Ashes. However, this third test in Headingley is so well poised. It is so at the end of day 3. England need 224 runs to win. They've got 2 days to get it in. I think we all know they're not going to use those 2 days. So it's basically going to be a cat and mouse between England getting themselves out and Australia stopping them getting the runs. It's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible to watch from both perspectives. English fans and Australian fans are going to be miserable watching this. However, if you're a neutral, you're going to have a great time because it's a good game of cricket. Bench, it's been a really, really interesting test match so far. We haven't had a chance to really chat about it.
No.
So let's talk about some main talking points. First one, Mitch Marsh, who, like he said, he's the first guy to get a test century on a holiday, because that's all he was treating this England trip as. He was like, it's basically just a holiday. And he got run a ball 118. It was an incredible innings. What do you think about him?
What an innings it was. It was so strange as well because, I think everyone expected to see Cameron Green on that team sheet, and then suddenly Mitch Marsh appeared on the team sheet the morning of, and everyone was like, what? Turns out, Cam Green out with injury, and Mitch Marsh has come in, and what a masterstroke that was for Cam Green to pull up in training and be like, oh yeah, lads, can't work today, because Mitch Marsh came in and absolutely, it was some of the hitting that he did in that first innings was unbelievable. 17 fours and 4 sixes. I think he scored something like 90. That works out to, my mental maths isn't, it's been a long day, not going to be there, but I think something like 96 runs he scored through boundaries, which is just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
However, had he not been dropped on 12, I think Australia could have been bowled out for 120, and we could have already finished this test match, with England going into the next test only trailing 2-1.
Yeah, so you know what? With that, let's talk about it. So obviously Root had a stinker, and you could tell he was absolutely fuming when he dropped all his catches. I think he got he was third time lucky on one of the catches. But Bairstow, it's worth talking about it because if we're honest, I feel like we're flogging this dead horse right now. We're beating this drum constantly where we're saying, oh, we need to have Folkes in. And we do, because he only averages 2 runs less an innings than Bairstow. Or 2 runs less per out. That's how averages work, right? And he saves so many more in his keeping. It's been a long time since Bairstow's been a full-time keeper, and it tells. You can tell. Bairstow is a part-timer at this point. I think he is an incredibly good cricketer, and I think he deserves to bat at number 5 or number 6. However, I also think that Folkes deserves to have the gloves because he is part of that bowling attack as well as being a decent batter himself. And if England had played Folkes from the start, I think we would do better. I'm not going to suggest that Australia would have lost the first 2 tests because they have been the better team. However, we would have done better.
And you know what? Yeah. I think this is where Alex Carey may come, and I think so far has been the difference between the two sides, purely from his keeping. His batting's not been anything to write home about. I think he had a score in the first test, but he's not really done much since then. But his keeping has just been phenomenal. The stumpings that he's pulled off, catches that he's taken, and not to mention spirit of the game conversation aside, a great piece of work for Bairstow run out stumping. Like
he's been incredible.
Smart from Carey. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been awesome, and that piece, like Australia haven't put their chances down, whereas I think I've now counted 10 chances go down for England, which that's an innings. And I think it's okay, and you can forgive one or two issues. I think, look, Steve Smith's dropped a couple of catches, but really it's becoming a problem. And the issue is you've got you have probably one of the best wicket keepers in the world, if not the best wicket keeper in the world, in Ben Foakes, twiddling his thumbs in Surrey. And then you've got Bairstow. Yeah, he is a good keeper and was a good keeper in his day, but I just don't think he's international keeper level. And I think it could be costing England valuable runs and wickets.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's all the cricket nerds are going to say on the matter for now, is that we think Ben Foakes should be playing and should have the gloves.
Yeah,
we've said this for a little while. It's probably going to sound a little bit repetitive now, but that's the nerd's opinion.
It's the cricket nerd standpoint.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about Mark Wood, because I've, for a little while, said he is my favourite cricketer. I stand by it. His fifer was absolutely outstanding. His bowling absolutely wheels. He is
so quick,
without a doubt, the fastest bowler in England. And he's been the point of difference. And if we contrast that with Ollie Robinson, who, after the last test, I thought should be dropped because he was off the boil. He was bowling very slowly, sort of like high 70s was kind of his range, which at village level is excellent, but at international level is pathetic. And it showed he was awful. And now he's come off with a side strain or whatever it is, an injury. So, back spasms, wasn't it? So he's obviously just not up to scratch. He's not fit. It's been an issue for a while, his fitness, and quite why we're playing him over like Josh Tongue, who was absolutely excellent at Lords. I don't get it. But that's it is what it is, isn't it?
I think the logic for Robertson is that he performed quite well during that summer of 2022. And he was one of England's main bowlers during that summer. And he's had a really good county season so far. Although it's been a bit, dotted about through injury. I agree. I think if he's off the boil, like with Anderson, he's been rotated out and rest. I think it's time that Ollie Robinson steps out for a test. I really don't see how England can drop either one of Mark Wood or Chris Woakes. We'll come on to Chris Woakes in a second, because they've been awesome. And Stuart Broad, I think, plays. So really, you've got Broad, Wood, and Woakes. So really, Robinson for Tongue, I would say. And then rest up Anderson. Maybe Anderson can come back in the last test if needed. But yeah, I agree. I think it's time that Robinson gets that rotation out. And I think injecting Josh Tongue for the next test is probably awesome, because we've seen what Mark Wood's injection of pace has done. Yeah, he was a bit expensive today, and Travis Head batted really well, and we'll come on speak about Travis Head in a bit, by playing that short ball. But in that first innings, Mark Woods' pace was the difference, and England have been missing that this whole series. Like, this 80, 86, 82, 83 mile an hour bounces from Broad, 72 mile an hour bounces from Robinson, compared to 93 mile an hour bounces from Wood. It makes so much difference. And you can see it in how the wickets have fallen from the short ball. If you look at the first two tests, Cummins and Stark and Hazelwood, all of whom touched 90 miles an hour, have been taking wickets upon wickets. But that short ball theory hasn't been working quite as well for England, with the exception of, let's guess, Josh Tongue, who's the other bowler who can hit those type of speeds. So yeah, it's I agree. That's where it will be. Before we talk about Travis Head, I want to mention Pat Cummins, because I think Pat Cummins, he's been a tale of two innings today. Like, his first innings figures phenomenal, 6 wickets. But then today, this afternoon, he got hit for his joint highest 2 overs, going for 17 from his first 2 overs of a spell, which was joint with the first 2 overs of, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the second innings of the World Test Championship final. So
yeah, it was. I mean, it was good from the England openers. I mean, like, Australia set a target of 250. England have 2 days to chase that down, and England's openers went about it the right way, like being very positive. They're already down to having to chase 224, so that's great from an England perspective. But realistically, it shouldn't have been that high. Shouldn't need to be that high a chase. It was only down to the brilliance of Travis Head that Australia got that many runs, and short ball theory from England. Potentially, if they pitch it up, things could have gone better for them. But Travis Head, he took them on, and I mean, he plays bazball, doesn't he? Yeah, and he is an incredibly good batter. And I think he's quite popular with the England fans because he plays in a positive and entertaining way. And he's an incredible cricketer. Like, he is really, really impressive. And his 77, like I say, it got Australia to a very competitive total. What do you think of Chris Woakes' bowling?
You know how much I love Chris Woakes. You know how you love Chris. You love Mark Wood as a cricketer. Chris Woakes as a cricketer, he's my favorite cricketer. He's incredible. Like, I agree completely with all the commentators who've been saying, especially for Chris Woakes, pitch it up. Like, Woakes has 1 or 2 short balls in him, but he's not the bowler who can go out and bowl consistently short for 3 overs straight. No. Maybe 1 or 2 every now and again to surprise Travis Head. But when he's bowling on a length or full, and he's allowing the ball to swing, nip around, nibble, there's only a few people that are better than him at that in the world, and especially in English conditions. Took his 100th wicket in England today. Test wicket, that is. So yeah, well done to Woker. And then he offers that much more with the bat as well. I think we've missed him so much being out to injury, and Mark Wood as well. And I think if England do go on to win this test, I'm hoping it can be a turning point in the series. But I think those two need to play for the rest of the series. And in lieu of Chris Woakes, I'm working a bit on my Chris Woakes beard today. I've not quite got his grey hair yet, but I'm working on the Woakesy beard.
Yeah, you're not far off on either, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, talking about facial hair, Travis Head, the man shaves his tash off and then hits 70 the next day. Like, what's going on there?
I thought he was a shell of the man that he once was without the moustache. He looked overwhelmingly Aussie with the stash, and then having lost it, I think that's the reason he didn't get 100, honestly.
Yeah, I would say.
But yeah, no. So it's really well poised. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Who's going to win? It's been an incredible Ashes series so far, and we thank you so much for the support that we've got. It's, it means a lot to us making these videos and, getting a lot of positive response to it. So, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help us out. You can also follow our social medias. It's all in the link tree down in the description. You can also listen to our podcasts. It's on all major podcasting sites. So we will catch you next time. Thank you so much, and goodbye.